Tonight on CTV News, controversy over the Littleton Port Chief Executive's pay erupts. But what about the port's redevelopment? And Christchurch police are concerned about an increase in people dealing methamphetamine. This is CTV News, I'm Grant Mangan. Despite crime being the lowest in 9 years, the Canterbury police are seeing more hard drugs on the streets. Emma Cropper has the story.
Drug use in the city is causing trouble for local police. In the past 12 months, the Canterbury District Commander says they've noticed a spike in methamphetamine drug users, believing the disposable income of locals is sparking the increase.
You've got a whole population of people that work 6 days a week and then they're taking recreational drugs. It's not what I call an epidemic, but it's something we're certainly monitoring. Softer
drugs like marijuana are being overlooked by users, choosing the dangerous methamphetamine instead.
But we're putting a lot of work in to stem that flow. We are seeing that a lot of people are probably consuming a lot of harder drugs than the softer drugs.
Methamphetamine is a highly addictive drug, speeding up messages to the brain. It's used by more than 280,000 people in New Zealand. Canterbury police are hoping to stop that figure from growing, targeting organised crime groups from entering Christchurch.
But we're putting a lot of work in to stem that flow. We are seeing that a lot of people are probably consuming a lot of harder drugs than the softer drugs.
The Canterbury police are targeting people arriving into the city in order to prevent the issue from escalating.
We're doing some things like we've been around every motel and talked to moteliers what people are like when they come and manufacture. We're working with the construction industry so when they drug test their employees, they get a sense of what we're trying to achieve and we're monitoring it.
Despite local crime being the lowest in 9 years, police are hoping methamphetamine users will follow the same trend. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
The Littleton Port of Christchurch Chief Executive Peter Davey has received criticism for not declining his 18% pay rise that saw his annual salary increase from $1 million to more than $1.2 million. CTV toured Littleton Port today, however Mr Davey was not commenting on his pay increase. In a statement, the board said that the $1 million salary was made up of several incentive payments. The incentive scheme has now ended, and during the next financial year, the Chief Executive's pay would decrease by approximately $400,000. Meanwhile, the rebuild of Littleton Port is progressing. Marcus Gibbs got a bird's-eye view of the billion-dollar plan to rejuvenate the port.
Littleton Port is expanding and shifting, and it's all part of a 30-year plan.
Well, we think it's going to look like a modern port. It's going to look like a port for the next 50 years. And that's what we're aiming to build and stage on our way through. Something that looks after Canterbury's growth and means that Canterbury can continue to thrive.
When the 2011 earthquake rocked Littleton, the Cash and Key wharf was badly damaged. The rebuild of that wharf reached a milestone today, when the largest concrete pour at Littleton Port in around 20 years took place. 75 trucks poured concrete to form the first 11 metres of the new wharf deck. The plan is for the first 57-metre section to be complete by the middle of December this year.
And we know, from our studies that there's a lot of work to be done. Like 6 of our 9 major wharves need significant work.
When the wharf is complete, 255 piles will have been driven into the harbour bed. Each one takes 1.5 days to put in place. The Port of Littleton's plan to move forward has been made possible by Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee's decision to fast-track the port's rejuvenation.
We're completely rebuilding that wharf. That's about an $80 million project, so it's significant, and it's completely new piles, beams, deck, the whole thing.
The port has been consulting with the community over the last 3 months and will now work with Environment Canterbury on a draft plan for the port's future, due to be signed off by the Minister in July next year.
We've got a web page going and a whole lot of material that we've put out in the community, and we've received feedback from over 500 different groups.
The Port of Littleton's plan involves reclaiming land east of the port where a new container terminal will be built. Littleton is New Zealand's third largest port. 400,000 20-foot containers arrive every year here. The ships are grown in size and are able to carry more cargo. By 2044, the amount of containers arriving annually is projected to increase by 400%.
Since the earthquake started, we've had a 40% increase in container volume. So our volume shot up, and that means that we need more space.
Earthquake rubble has been dumped into the harbour to help expand the port. Eventually, the wharf will extend to 35 hectares across the shaded area on this map. The western end of the port will be open to the public, and new shops will be built on Dampier Bay's waterfront.
And that was one of the really strong bits of feedback we got, that people want access to come down by the water and enjoy the amenity of it, and that was that they want restaurant, bar, coffee shop. They can sit by the water and enjoy it.
It's $1 billion project, but the port chief executive says the results will be worth the effort when it's finally complete in 30 years' time. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
For the first time since electronic records began, the Canterbury district has recorded its lowest level of recorded crime. However, as the rebuild gains momentum, police are keeping a close eye out in the field to keep the figures low.
Local streets are the safest they've been in almost a decade, as recorded crime in the Canterbury district hits an all-time low since 1995, falling almost 9% in the last year.
I think the 9% reduction in crime for Canterbury is outstanding. We've worked really hard over the last 3 years to maintain our average of crime reduction.
Crime figures from Statistics New Zealand show just over 39,000 offences were recorded in Canterbury, down from more than 42,000 the previous year. Canterbury's district commander says on any given week, up to 60 cops are dropped from the front line to work on nothing but prevention.
So we're looking at making sure we get cops into hot zones and policing well.
More than 900 bars, cafes and restaurants have opened since the 2011 quakes shut the doors on most hospitality establishments. Strangers Lane is the latest hotspot opened in town, attracting such large crowds through the doors. It's forced managers to introduce an over 20 preference to limit patrons.
Because the demand has been so high, especially on those key Friday, Saturday nights, we are implementing a preferential age restriction of 20 plus. That's just to obviously ease the demand that we have on the venue.
Despite the city centre's growing nightlife, offences for disorderly behaviour fell by almost 2,000 this year, but police believe there's room for improvement.
I think if we can bring our bars back to 3 o'clock closing in the city and 1 a.m. in the suburbs, we'll see even a more substantial reduction in crime.
Theft-related offences made up the majority of recorded crime.
The rebuild's had its challenges, but to be honest, it's having very little impact on crime. We think that so far the people coming to town on the average are really good people and they're not impacting on our crime results.
Earlier this year, more than $120,000 worth of stolen tools was discovered from a Hunhei property. Police said it was a multi-million-dollar issue plaguing the rebuild, but despite crime in the rebuild, majority of the theft and burglaries were shoplifting.
So we are seeing some of those are the building sites, but a majority are still good old-fashioned shoplifting.
By the numbers, theft-related crimes topped the list, making up more than 34% of recorded crime. Disorderly behaviour has dropped the most in the past year, making up more than 32%. Offences recorded for endangering people has the second largest drop to 26%. Only 5 murders were recorded last year compared to 10 2 years ago. In order to keep crime down, the police are keeping a close eye on the rebuild as it gathers momentum, believing this could affect crime figures on the district. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
And Christchurch police are also investigating the discovery of a fetus found in the Christchurch wastewater treatment plant. A police spokeswoman says it's likely that the mother was in the midterm of her pregnancy. The Bromley plant processes sewage from over 100 pumping stations across the city. It's likely the fetus entered the system 4 to 6 hours before it was discovered. There are no indications at this stage that anything suspicious has occurred, but police are concerned that the woman may need medical assistance. If viewers know anything about this at all, please get in touch with the Christchurch Police. Coming up, Canterbury drivers are putting their feet to the pedal and ending up with a speeding fine.
In concert. A new, fantastic international artist performing every week. Saturday evening at 7 p.m, right here on CTV.
Located at the foot of the Port Hills, Berrymead Golf offers a spectacular location for any occasion. Make a dream wedding a reality with private use of our green function room, outdoor garden courtyard, large marquee and stunning gazebo. Or for your next conference, enjoy the relaxed atmosphere of Berrymead Golf, offering a private, spacious conference room with special deals to make any break a true break. All with customised catering from the Wow Cafe. Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Introducing My Freeview.
This fella doesn't just preserve your right to watch free digital TV. It fits your viewing around your life. Too busy putting out fires? Record at the touch of a button. Want to watch one channel and record another? You can. And if you need to nip away,
Hit pause, even a live show.
for a one-off payment, you can enjoy Freeview when it suits you, not someone else.
It's like having your own TV station at home without monthly fees or contracts. My Freeview. It's Kiwi for TV.
Looking for that perfect gift for a loved one? Wanting to add some vibrance to your home? Or just looking to brighten up your workplace? No matter the occasion, the Hitching Post has something for everyone. Lose yourself in their extensive range of homeware, art, glass and plasma cut metalwork. The Hitching Post is your one-stop shop for great style and quality. So come on down to the Hitching Post, 722 Marshland Road.
Al Jazeera News. International news right off the satellite, bringing you up-to-the-minute coverage of world events. Al Jazeera News. Weekday mornings at 6 o'clock. Right here on CTV.
Earlier in the bulletin, we reported on the drop of recorded crime in Canterbury. Today, CTV News took to the streets to ask locals just how safe they're feeling living in the city.
I feel pretty safe, yeah. I don't go into town anymore, but, you know, babies and things. But, yeah, around this area, I feel pretty safe.
The rebuild workers you feel a little bit less safe being a woman?
Well, in the area that we're living in, I feel really quite safe.
Well, put it this way, I don't go into town after dark anytime.
So you feel pretty safe?
Not really.
To keep the children entertained these school holidays, a local shopping mall has been holding art classes, giving school children the chance to get creative.
Spray cans, colourful aprons and paint. More than 20 school children enjoying their holiday break, getting creative at Eastgate Mall.
What we're doing here today is street art. We're offering the opportunity to some children to learn how to do some street art for free as part of a school holiday program.
Giving children the opportunity to get their hands dirty while giving parents some time out. 2 teachers from CPIT came along to lend a hand, and a team of helpers from a local radio station.
It gives the parents a bit of downtime, allows them to relax and enjoy a quiet coffee.
Each child gets their own turn at creating a masterpiece.
They get to stencil a name or initial, and then they get the canvas, they get to spray that on, and then create their own street art around their name, an idea that they've had, and you know the class basically takes them through the whole process.
Eastgate Shopping Centre manager Mike Smith says looking around, the kids appear to be enjoying themselves.
From what I can see happening out here, it looks pretty good. I think they're really enjoying themselves. We've had good uptake for the classes. All the classes the rest of the week are full, and we're taking some reserves just in case someone can't make it on the day.
Looking for ways to get kids involved and active this school holidays.
We're looking for something that wasn't, you know, so every kid could take part regardless of school level, and we ended up learning something about it and then could sit back at home and give something to mum, give something to dad, or give it away as a Christmas present to say, hey, I did this and it was really cool.
Making it free for the children was an added bonus. Paper Plus donated all of the materials, allowing the young artists to try their turn at spray paint.
Well, I think it was a really good initiative. I thought it was something fun and something kids would be really into. We were really grateful to be involved in this because we really like being part of the community. We want more kids to come along, have fun, and at the end having something to be proud of, I think is such a good thing.
It's day 3 and already the Eastgate staff are pleased with the class's success.
Look, it's something we've looked to do. We've done a couple of initiatives earlier in the year around sporting events and different things that we could do, and we're just looking for something that's a bit different, so we are looking at doing something more like this in the future.
The hour-long classes run every day at Eastgate Shopping Centre until Friday. The artwork will then be displayed over the second week of the school holidays, and shoppers can vote on their favourite piece. The winning masterpiece will see one lucky child win a $200 voucher. Joelle Batista, CTV News.
The Canterbury rugby team has endured their first 2 losses in the provincial competition within 1 week. Now the team are looking ahead to Saturday night's face-off against Tasman.
Two close games, two close losses. Last week's matches against Southland and North Harbour were a tough reality for the red and black team to face, but coach Scott Robertson affirms this isn't the end. Scott Robertson says the losses have been hard to swallow at home, but the team have to take their learnings and move on.
I think collectively as a group we've got to understand that the execution side's let us down. Opportunities have been there, and what we create with our shape is still creating those opportunities, just not executing them. So for us it's still just having really good belief, and we're still in the fight.
Before last week's games, the Canterbury team stood undefeated. Now, in less than 8 days, the boys in red and black find themselves in a very different position. Sunday's game against Southland saw All Black Dan Carter return to provincial rugby. He left the game limping, so whether he's in for Saturday remains questionable. Head coach Scott Robertson says at this stage it's too soon to have a final answer.
DC's looking pretty good actually. He's got his hair all done up, and he'll be going out Saturday if things go well.
Still out on a leg injury, Canterbury's captain Willie Hines is sitting out another game.
This week at this stage, unless something miraculous happens in the next couple of days, but all the tests and exam results are coming back with him, so who knows?
On whether he'll be out for the rest of the season, Scott Robertson says Hines is not giving up.
It depends who you talk to. Willie hasn't ruled himself out, but there's definitely a decent casualty ward going on, and we're looking for some reinforcements.
With some newer faces coming up on the red and black bench, coach Scott Robertson says with every game this ITM Cup, they haven't once put in the same team or combinations in all of the 8 games.
We're up to about 41 now, I think 42 if one of the young fellas gets off of the bench, depending on who comes in. We've got more brackets in the algebra equation at the moment in the old team squads, so we'll see, and I think it's going to be the same next week.
Coach Robertson says what Saturday's match will hold for the Canterbury team against the Tasman is exciting.
Look, it's strange for us to be underdogs for the first time in many years. You know, like they've obviously got a number of super players, and they're the form team of the competition, so it's a long time since we played them down here as well, so it's exciting times.
The team lineup for this weekend's game will be released tomorrow. Kick-off time for Canterbury vs Tasman is 7:30 Saturday night. Joel Batista, CTV News.
And still to come, the business news update and, of course, your local weather forecast.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21.
It's Blackwell's Holden Demolition Sale, with prices on selected demonstrators that'll blow you away. Cruise SRIV $31,990, Farina CDX $21,990, Captiva CX Diesel $39,990, Holden Spark $14,990, and Trax LTZ $31,990. The clock's ticking. These prices could blow any second. Call Blackwell's Holden Softburn today.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference More Mobility makes.
Avoid the monkeys when it comes to relocating. Trust A1 Movers, a family business since 1993 that guarantees a professional job every time. We carefully handle and wrap your valued items, ensuring they have a safe journey. Secure storage and insurance options are also available.
A1 Movers, the careful, caring moving company.
Oi! Welcome to Caltex Redwood. We're a family-owned business proudly supporting our local community. We're open 24/7 for fuel and shop goods, and we have an amazing team of people ready to help you. Save at least 6 cents per litre using AA Smart Fuel cards. We also offer great value on our LPG bottle fills. We have a full workshop and Bridgestone Tyre Centre. Our mechanics and tyre technicians will get your car sorted. Caltex Redwood. We're just down from St Bede's on Main North Road. Caltex Redwood. What drives you?
Canterbury Live coming to you daily at 4:30. It's all about what's happening in your region, Canterbury, what's hot, what's not, and much more. Canterbury Live.
Warren Head joins us now with this week's business news.
Hi, I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. Well, again, last night we had one of those dairy auctions. They keep coming up every 2 weeks, so I guess they're going to make some headlines or waves every time they appear. And last night it wasn't good news. The price slipped again on several fronts in terms of the milk product range that's put up for auction. And it was down significantly enough to knock the currency a little bit overnight, so under 80 cents now for the Kiwi dollar. And that's starting to transfer itself already into petrol price increases. This week we saw some of that occurring. Just to remind you that in September, I think the price went up about 4 cents a litre. You can expect it to keep going up if these dairy prices keep going down, because there's an immediate knocking on effect to the currency in terms of support for the Kiwi. And in a bottle of milk these days, I mean, we just pour it on the Weet-Bix in the morning and don't think much about it, but it breaks down to a whole lot of fractions. And the big one is milk powder. And that's the commodity price that everybody looks at. So last night, whole milk powder price went down 11%. In dollar terms, that's still US about $3,000 a tonne, so it's a lot of money still. It's back at December 2012 levels. And some of the other prices were down even further, and anhydrous milk fat down about 10%. And then as the product value goes up, like casein, which trades for about $9,700 a tonne, even that came back down by about 9%. So there's a little bit of despondency around the country today, particularly out on the farm. So think of them next time you buy a block of cheese this weekend. There are a few issues coming through there. I mentioned a little while back that I was going to go to the Air New Zealand annual meeting. Well, I did. I went there this week. A reasonably good turnout. There were some good questions. I got one in myself about airline security and was told that the board of Air New Zealand had only that day taken time out to look at the security of their internet system, their computers against cybercrime. And they gave an assurance to the annual meeting held at Wigram that their airliners are definitely not flying over any war zones and haven't anyway. The other thing that came through was a bit of questioning from the floor about the price of regional airfares, and as you know, they seem pretty chunky. The airline came back on that and said, well, the airfares between the provincial centres, and that's 20,000 people upwards, were probably down about 4% over the last about 2% over the last 5 years, and they're trying to hold it by increasing the size of the aircraft. That's why they've been buying these much more expensive ATR aircraft, about 9 of those on order, and they carry more people. They gave the example that if you got in your car and drove to Invercargill, it was going to cost more per person than if you got on a bus with 50 people and went to Invercargill. So it's all about scale, and that's where they're going. And the other thing that came through was the cost of the big long-haul jets. They're cutting that with the new Dreamliner, the 787-9 and the Airbuses. And the cost of a 747 to London. Some of you might have had the pleasure of being on board one of those, and how smelly they were at around about 4 a.m. in the morning. Well, they cost now about $1 million a trip return to take through to London and back. So these new planes, they knock the price of fuel back by about 20%. So that's where the airline is going. They certainly have got money in the bank, about $1.23 billion. They're going to need all of it for these new planes coming forward. They're a pleasure to fly, and you should get out there and try it on the regional routes before those fares move again. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
Now let's check out the weather around the region.
Good evening, Canterbury. Let's take a look at your region's weather. In Timaru, Temuka and Geraldine, they hit a high of 19. Methven and Ashburton hit a high of 19, same for Rakaia, 19 degrees. Reaching one of the region's highs was Darfield, Leeston and Ralston with a high of 21. Looking at Lincoln and Christchurch, a sunny and warm day for you with a high of 21. Over in Akanawa, hope you've been enjoying the sunshine, hitting 21 degrees. Rangiora, Kaipi and Amberley took out the top temperature of the region on a warm 22. Colvin, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot weren't quite as lucky with a high of 20. And at the top in Kaikoura, they had the region's high of 21 degrees. And this warm weather isn't hanging around. In Timaru, cloudy and cold with showers tomorrow till late afternoon. Expect gusty southwesterly winds with an overnight low of 8 and a high of 10 degrees. Ashburton, a chilly, damp Friday ahead with gusty southwesterly winds and showers all day. 8 degrees overnight and 10 throughout the day. Christchurch, morning rain with cold southwesterlies, easing to showers during the afternoon. 8 degrees at night and 10 during the day. In Kaikoura, cloudy and cold with showers till evening. Do expect gusty southwesterly winds, hitting 8 degrees overnight with a high of 10 during the day. And in other areas around the region, Temuka and Geraldine hit a high of 10. Methven and Rakai expect showers all day with a high of 10 degrees. Darfield 10, Leeston and Ralston showers all day with 11 degrees. Lincoln hitting 8 degrees overnight and a high of 11. Over in Akanawa, expect showers throughout the day with a high of 10. Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley slightly warmer with a high of 11. Colvin, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot, an overnight low of 8 and 10 throughout the day. And looking ahead for the rest of Canterbury, mostly cloudy and temperatures cold on Saturday, with fresh to strong southwesterly winds dying out later in the day. A few scattered showers possible at times, mostly near the coast but often dry. Do expect frosts possible on Saturday night. Milder on Sunday, with fresh gusty northwesterlies developing and then becoming strong from the evening. Expect high cloud increasing throughout the day. Mild northwesterlies and high cloud at first on Monday, but a strong cold southwesterly change developing during the day, with a brief period of showers. Breezy northeasterlies developing on Tuesday, with high cloud increasing, then winds tending milder northwesterly later in the day. Fresh to strong, gusty, mild northwesterly winds and high cloud are expected on Wednesday. A period of showers with colder southwesterlies is expected next Thursday. Mostly fine with northeasterly winds on Friday and milder northwesterlies freshening next Sunday with high cloud increasing. And that is all for your region's weather. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
And that's CTV News for Thursday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.